So, Pikmin 4 finally came out after literally 10 years of waiting. Everyone, including myself, was super extremely excited for a new Pikmin adventure that we just haven't had for so long. The only things we really got between that was Hey Pikmin and Pikmin 3 Deluxe as actual Pikmin games, but then again, none of them were any new Pikmin games. Hey Pikmin just wasn't a Pikmin game, it was just a completely different genre styled game, which is not what people wanted, especially after Miyamoto said this. So after finally getting our hands on Pikmin 4, a lot of people were very annoyed and very disappointed in Nintendo. One feature in Pikmin 4 that clearly outweighs the rest of just being the worst part of the entire game is the auto lock-on feature. Because my god, they clearly didn't test using auto lock-on in parts of this game. Looking at you, 8th story of Sage Leaf, I think it is. You know the one. But today I'm going to go through all of my thoughts on auto lock-on and why it should just be an option. Come on Nintendo, why is there not an option in the menu to turn it off? My first point is, why wouldn't they let you turn it off after you've beaten the final boss for the first time? After beating the Ancient Sirehound, you should get the option to turn auto lock-on off for good for your next playthroughs. If Nintendo's whole point of this was the fact that they wanted to get newcomers more familiar with being able to throw Pikmin, why is it not an option after they beat the game? I'm sure that after they've beaten the game, they would have been more familiar with how, you know, this entire game works after they've beaten it. Nintendo, hello, where's the common sense? But anyway, yeah, it's just kind of stupid that there's no option, full stop. It's just a no-brainer. Doesn't make sense because of all the reasons I'm about to go over. So first, Pikmin 3 Deluxe, it heavily changed how the lock-on system worked. In the Wii U version of Pikmin 3, you had to lock onto an enemy by actually moving your cursor to it and then clicking ZL to lock on, and then it would do it and you could just charge all of your squad towards it. But in Pikmin 3 Deluxe, as long as your cursor is relatively near the object, pressing the ZR button would make it so that it would lock onto whatever's closest, and then you can press the ZR button again to cycle through other things that are close enough to lock on. That system was perfect, and nothing wrong with it. And that system is also in Pikmin 4, but since it locks on for you, it's not really as useful unless you are trying to actually get your cursor to go on what you want by cycling through. Here's the main issue with auto lock on. When there are a bunch of enemies on the screen at once, it is very difficult to decide what you want your cursor to go on, because it will most likely, most of the time, just go on to the complete wrong thing when you didn't want it to. When using the cursor, when there's like one, even two enemies on screen or whatever you want to throw your Pikmin on, it's fine. It actually works quite well because it locks onto what you want to lock onto and then you can throw your Pikmin. But it doesn't work when there's multiple things, because then your cursor just ends up going on the wrong thing and you end up just throwing the Pikmin, whistling it, then trying to move away and then lock onto the correct thing, and then finally, oh my god, that took way longer than if I didn't have the aim thing. So there's actually kind of a solution to get around auto lock, and that's basically to move far enough away where it won't lock onto the objects, and then use the motion controls of moving your controller up and down to extend the cursor, so then you can throw Pikmin onto whatever you want. And it works extraordinarily well. So if you don't play with motion controls on, turn them on, try this trick, and you'll see how much better it is with motion controls. And that actually brings us on to something that is kind of stupid with auto lock on. This wouldn't really be a problem if you could choose to lock on, but basically, if you try and throw Pikmin onto an object that needs to be carried, the game will not let you throw more than the required amount on. If you try and throw more, it won't let you. Imagine the A button doesn't do anything. So the solution, go back, throw Pikmin when it's not locking onto it, and then oh wow, you can get more than the required amount on. That is also just a stupid part, and it wouldn't even be stupid if we had the choice to lock on, because then it wouldn't force you to throw the required amount instead of all. But the game all focused and talked about Dandori. It's honestly the least Dandori game because of auto lock on. You can't put more Pikmin on to make it go faster, meaning it will take more time, meaning it's less Dandori. But yeah, like I said in the beginning of the video, that one Sage Leaf trial stage, the one fell jump, basically that one is absolute torture because of auto lock on. It wouldn't even be that hard if you could aim freely, but because of how many of those enemies are there at once, it's really difficult to throw your purples in the middle of where all the enemies are instead of just on the edge of the whole pack. You know, it just makes it incredibly more difficult to do that for no reason. And Nintendo has to have known this, because I don't believe that they went through the entire testing phase and didn't think, maybe this isn't a good idea. Maybe this causes more annoyance than help, which was the entire point of it. I don't know why Nintendo didn't give us an option. Let's just conclude what I've already said so far and then just say the solutions of how to just fix Nintendo's stupid mistakes. So with the auto lock on, it should just work exactly like Pikmin 3 Deluxe. You press ZR when you're close enough, it'll lock onto the object, you can throw a Pikmin on it, and you can cycle between them by pressing the button again. It should work like that. Why does it need to do it for you? I don't know why Nintendo wants infants that are in the womb to play the game, but they do apparently. A 3-year-old can figure out how to throw a Pikmin with it locked on, especially because the game tells you how to do it so fucking often. Number 2, auto lock on would be tremendously improved, even if it's not an option to turn off, by just removing the throwing limit. Why the hell can't I throw as many Pikmin on it as possible? What is this? If they just allowed us to throw as many Pikmin on it as possible, I wouldn't need to really move my character away to throw a Pikmin on like I have to do every single time. Number 3. A lot of enemies and objects on the screen at once. The game should probably put something in place where if it detects that there's a lot to lock on in this, you know, general area of your character, it should disable the auto lock on and only have it for situations where it may be difficult to aim, for example on things that are in the open or something, I don't know. But when there's a bunch of enemies, it should automatically disable itself so that you can aim on what you want. It would make it a lot easier. And speaking of in the open, if you're trying to throw Pikmin further away but there's an object closer to you and the cursor auto locks onto that, it shouldn't be. You know what, I've just realised how stupid all of this is. All of this would be fixed if you could just turn it off. Not being able to throw further away because of an object. Turn it off, then I could throw further. Objects all in this one area, multiple of them. Turn auto lock off and I'll be able to not get stuck on the wrong thing. Yeah, this is just so stupid, man. Why the... What? This whole video is so useless because all they need to do is just give us an option to disable it and none of these problems that everyone is having would be a problem. Now, comment section, answer me this question. How is like a $1 billion company like Nintendo a lot stupider than the average consumer? Because I bet you ask every single person who played Pikmin 4 and they would all say, I wish auto lock was disabled. How come a big corporation can have such little common sense and have such huge stupidity? Conclusion, fix. Just give us an option to turn it off, for fuck's sake. Oh my god. There is a mod out there called Pikmin 4 Plucked that I've yet to play, but it apparently disables auto lock on, so, you know, I bet you that Pikmin 4 as an experience would be heavily improved if auto lock wasn't there. But to be honest, all the other Pikmin 4 flaws need to be mentioned in their own video. I'll definitely make that video in the future, so subscribe if you want to see more Pikmin content. Something in that video that I'm thinking of is like enemies not respawning, maps just being barren. Why? But yeah, if you want to see that video, let me know in the comment if you've got any suggestions for Pikmin 4's issues and stuff, and then subscribe and I'll make that video. But yeah, thanks for watching and take care, bye bye.